What made Jay's shadow video so ungreat? Well, just like with Jay's videos that have a similar naming to boost the amount of views the video gets, you are gonna have to watch this whole video to find out. A few days ago, I rewatched this video from Jay's reviews, sort of because it has been a full 20 years since the game he is talking about in this video was released. Personally, I don't hate the game, but I wouldn't wanna get a 100% in the game either, nor do I think it's a great game. However, I do like the concept of this game, believe it or not. Yes, that includes Shadow using guns. I would also like it if you said fuck off, you shit looking alien fucks. But I'm getting off topic. I might add this as part of the video I wanna make regarding current YouTubers, how they usually operate, and the practices they do, that I find somewhat controversial. This guy just did one of those somewhat controversial / questionable things. Remember how I said I wanted to rewatch this video? Well, I specifically wanted to watch the part of the 25 minutes and 4 seconds mark when he talks about writing stories with a post-apocalyptic scenario and why this game's story is lame due to how nobody dies or gets injured on the parts with cities getting destroyed and whatnot. That part was honestly my favorite one when I first watched this video back when it was new. But here's the amazing thing I found out just by rewatching that part of the video. I skipped to the part at 25 minutes and 4 seconds, and you might notice that you see text in capital letters saying, serious subject matter / imagery warning. Skip to 26 minutes and 19 seconds to avoid it, at the 25-26 mark, where he gives examples of tragic real-life moments that are remembered because of how tragic they were. Obviously. But guess what? If you skip to the 26 and 19 mark, it no longer makes sense, and if you don't skip to that timestamp, then it also doesn't make sense, since you don't see him talking about any real-life tragedies. That is because he removed that part from the video.
If you're going to have a scenario which would result in that and then cop out with every single person evacuated, well, there goes all the tension. Because if the president survives the White House being hit by the eclipse cannon and the entire city survives this, then what was the point? Because now, from a narrative perspective, the tension is completely evaporated, leaving what? Then what was the point? Because now, from a narrative perspective, the tension is completely evaporated, survives this, then what was the point? Because now, from a narrative perspective, the tension is completely evaporated, leaving what? The game looking completely pathetic for trying to pull off shock value moments without having the balls to see it through. If you don't think your audience can handle that, then don't put it in the story at all. Or just have the heroes stop the apocalyptic scenario. Problem solved.
In the original upload, about Jay's now removed part about real-life tragedies, he gave a few examples of it. I don't remember the real-life tragedies he mentioned, but I do remember him saying the year of when they happened. One happened in 1911, the other happened in 1941, and a more memorable one happened in 2001. At the time, I found it interesting that these events happened 1 year after those decades just started, but anyway. Jay then went on to say, quote, "These are not tragedies that are remembered to this day because a bunch of buildings and equipment got hurt. It's because innocent lives were lost that could never be returned." End quote. He said other stuff about why he was doing his best to explain why the game's whole post-apocalyptic scenario narrative was so stupid. Sadly, I don't remember much of that, but I think you get the gist of it. It was so sad and lame to see him remove my favorite part of the video, just because he seemingly wanted to keep some extra income coming his way, but at the price of arguably ruining his legacy, if you ask me. It's even kind of ironic, when you think about it. Let me explain. Perhaps the writers of this game's story wanted to commit to the post-apocalyptic scenario, but they might have been told by the Sega higher-ups that they had to tone things down to avoid getting a higher not for kids rating by the ESRB, Cero, and Peggy. He said that if you don't think your audience can handle that, then don't put it in the story at all. Well, it seems like history just repeated itself, because you yourself made a similar mistake by deleting that part with this video that you recorded, edited, and uploaded, all for what? A YouTube paycheck, and to keep that extra income coming most likely, just like how Sega wanted to keep the extra cash. by keeping the game for a wider audience. I'm not saying that is what happened. I'm not one of those YouTubers who basically say, confirmed but no proof, but that is usually how it goes, because money talks. Thus, it's true what they say. People does anything for money, including ruining their legacy, all to please a website that doesn't care about you. Honestly, I, as a viewer, would be being dishonest if I pretended that what he did didn't look lame to me, or even cringy. This is what I mean when I say that these YouTubers get too ridiculous with how much they police themselves just for a YouTube paycheck due to how most of them tie their YouTube channel to a bank account. Just like I said in my Mega Man X Corrupted video, I get we are living through difficult times, but come on guys, this is just fucking lame and obnoxious. And I get I myself can be cringy just by making this video, but if a cringe person thinks you are cringy, then you just know that you messed up. I assume people who like this guy, or my haters would say, that it's not that big of a deal, or other arguments to defend him, but keep in mind that old YouTubers like that Game Jude used to do this a lot. He would constantly delete, re-upload, delete, re-upload, delete, re-upload his videos, to make them quote unquote better, by removing or adding stuff. But in most cases, that made his videos worse, and people unsubscribed, because they were constantly getting notifications of the same videos, just with something added, or removed. That's why, just like with YouTube memberships, that's why I'm not fully down with having a tool like a built-in YouTube video editor, because it might ruin the video, or it might be used to remove evidence of you saying something controversial. And in the case of memberships, it might be used for questionable practices as well. You are most likely going to divide people as well when you lock content that is worth nothing behind a paywall. Don't get it wrong, I still think Jay's video is good, but I would be lying if I said that something wasn't lost on his video. Although, I guess it's not as bad as this Shadow game removing a radar before the game was released. Next video I might do on this Jay guy might be on his Mega Man 3 review, because there is plenty I found lacking with his video, and to me, it was an extra slap in the face, considering this guy's a big shot YouTuber, and yet, his video was lacking on information and cool extras, almost as if he couldn't be bothered to make the video. If you want money, then I'm sorry, but you can't be excused when you get lazy. That's why you may not want to make your YouTube channel about money. Anyway, see you all again